All right, go ahead and crack open that beer.
All right. Well,
Oh, you got that's right, a bottle. Perfect. I'm gonna
yeah, you
put
gotta
mine
do
in
that.
a glass here. There we go. This is the Brands of Brews Marketing Podcast, where we talk about marketing while drinking beer. I have with me Martin Greif, but he goes by Marty. So nice to have you, Marty.
I'm sorry. Greif.
Greif. Marty Greif. See, I've only read it on. I should have asked you beforehand because I thought it was obvious and I blew it. So it's Marty Greif. So we'll go ahead and start it over. It's Marty Greif I have here. He is the president of Site Tuners. Marty, tell us what you're drinking.
Well, I'm drinking the Stella, and it's funny. You asked the question about marketing
Mm-hmm.
and why do I drink Stella? Well, I drink two beers typically. I drink, Bud Light and Stella.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Bud Light marketing recently has insulted me. Not because I care whether someone's gay or transsexual or whatever. I don't care about that. What I care is they didn't understand their audience and then they doubled down and they tripled down. I'm like, are you stupid? Marketing is about the audience, okay? And if you don't know your audience, you shouldn't be in marketing. But Stella, on the other hand, all right, uh, I was introduced to this by a buddy of mine, and we went into a bar and he said, I'll have a Stella. And they came out in the bar with a Stella glass. And I'm like, ooh, I'll try one of those.
Yes.
And I felt so like, oh, look at me, I'm drinking a Stella. It's really
Felt
stupid,
fancy.
but it's the marketing behind the stupid ass glass, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I drink Stella.
There you go. It's that glass, and then knowing a little bit about the beer industry, that green bottle is another thing that really pops in their
Yeah,
store.
yeah,
So they did a really good job marketing. So that's a great choice if when you're thinking about marketing in beer.
yeah.
Um, I'm drinking a local beer, so I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I've had Oscar Blues on the show more than once, but this is one of their Mexican beer lines,
Oh,
and it's called Mas Lima Cerveza, and it's a Mexican lager, and it's got like that lime and salt. A lot of breweries are doing this, where they have that like a Mexican lager, and it's always got lime and salt. It's a big seller in the summertime, obviously, and it's actually
yeah.
really good. So, um, yeah, it's just one of those trends,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I will tell you, there's a local brewery here
mhm.
that their version of that is called Dead Parrot. All right,
Dead Parrot. That's a great name.
I drink Dead Parrot when I go there.
That's a great name. All right, Marty. Again, so thanks for joining me on the show. I actually found you. I reached out to you, so I really appreciate you coming on my show because I own an SEO agency, and one of the things that I'm always trying to improve on for my clients is not just doing the SEO part, but really help with conversion optimization. And your content on LinkedIn is something I've learned a lot from. So I always engage with your content because I think it's outstanding. It's very relevant. A lot of your examples are easy to implement. A lot of them are just, sometimes they're obvious, which is super helpful because like for me, I think when you're doing SEO, you kind of or you work with the same client over and over again. You're looking at the same website. You get tunnel vision, and you start to really forget or you don't see the big picture. So it's really helpful for me to watch your content or read your content and then go and take it in and then start working on some of my clients because it's just I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that before? There's no trust signals right here on the in the hero section of their homepage. That's a problem or whatever. That's just one of many examples, but that's really how I found you. So we're obviously going to talk about conversions today. um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so very, very important, not just for SEO but pretty much any digital marketing, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, but conversion is now helping SEO because engagement is now an SEO trigger. And so if you have a site that's engaging, i.e. converting,
Yeah,
Google gives you Google love for that. You still
exactly.
have to do all the other SEO stuff, but conversions are now becoming a crazy part of SEO. engagement.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about that quality and trust factors of and how those that's the eat component of how search is done now, especially on Google. Um, let's talk about content for creation. So we had this as a talking point with commercial pages versus non-commercial pages, and I'm going to give you the mic here, just kind of to start with like what those two components mean, and then how we create content that converts.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about the difference between commercial pages and non-commercial pages, because that might be a term that I use that not everybody who's listening is going to go, oh yeah, that's obvious. So for us, a commercial page is those are the pages that you're getting someone to buy, subscribe, and so on. So in an e-commerce site, it's anything from your homepage to category page to product page, and so on. In a lead gen site, it might be your homepage, your services page, and your lead generation forms. If you're subscribing, again, it's a similar thing. It's getting people from those here's what we do pages or here's what we offer to get them to buy. A non-commercial page are your article pages, your blog pages, your FAQs, and so on. They will rank, and Jesse, I'm sure you'll back me up on this. A lot of times, those SEO, those blog pages, those article pages rank really well, especially sometimes on long tail keywords too, right? But we always hear, and again, back me up on this. People say, well, we're getting a lot of traffic to these pages, but they're not engaged, they're not buying, they're not subscribing, they're not doing whatever. And when we looked at this, we said, you know what? We need to create something called content for conversion. And that was what you were asking about. So while there's certainly conversion things you do on your commercial pages, and we can talk about that later too, but in your high ranking non-commercial article pages, how do you get them to convert? And I will tell you, after literally months and months and months of testing on our own sites and then rolling it out to clients, here's what we discovered. First off, if you personalize the article and you put a picture of who's ever writing it, we're starting to get some engagement because people relate to people. So
Right.
you put a picture up of somebody, the author, and then you tell them how long a read it is. You give them a little bit of a summary to see where it is. Then you do some obvious SEO stuff on there where you've got links on the page that take you to different sections, right? That's fine. So this is not going against any SEO best practices. You're still going to do all the right tags and you're going to do all that good stuff. No argument. But when you're going through the page, the goal is to get people to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and or click on a link that takes them further into a funnel. If you do either one of those two things, Google will reward you with Google Love. Now, in my world, Google Love is nice, but I prefer someone to actually buy something, okay, or subscribe or whatever. So if we've got this article that it goes down and on the page, about midway through the article, you can put some advertising in there. And so even though it is an informative article, partway down, you can say, oh, by the way, if you're interested in whatever the topic is, click here, and that can take them to either a lead generation page, it could take them to a buy a product page, it could take them wherever. Right now they're engaged. If they continue reading past that point and they get to the very bottom, everybody loves to have on their article pages or their blog pages, here's some other relevant blogs. That's nice, but that's not what you really want. What you want them to do at that stage is to either, again, make an appointment with you to become a lead, to subscribe to something, buy to something. So you need to have another bite at the apple. And in a perfect world, whatever you've talked about in that article, in the last bite at the apple, you would actually have something that relates what you said back to the article and tell them how if they buy this product, subscribe to the service, do whatever it is that will help them achieve what they've read. And I will tell you, having events, excuse me, I need some beer.
That's why we're drinking.
Yeah. So anyway, knowing where they are scrolling and having events to see how far they scroll will let you know between events and heat maps. You want to get people as engaged as possible. Now, that's in the body, and you also have to break up your text so that it's engaging. There's a way to make the text engaging, and that is you have to have not just multiple sections and titles. You need to bold certain things. You need to checkbox things. You need to have bullet points because people don't read, right? They scan. So you need to make, even if it's a 2,000 word article, it's got to be scannable that I can scan it in a short period of time.
Right.
And if you do that, then people will go through the article and you'll see that people are spending more time on your site and reading more of that article. Now, I feel like that commercial, but wait, there's more. The other thing, you're laughing, but I'm serious. So the other thing is on the side, in most article pages, you've got related content. I've seen that a lot of times and so on. You know, you've got categories, but you know what? That's nice, but that doesn't really help you. Instead, you've got a banner area there. Why not advertise a service and or subscribe to your newsletter or blog? And by the way, I said the word subscribe to the newsletter or blog. I hate that. So don't say subscribe. You know, if you can avoid. Now we do it on ours. So sometimes we violate a rule even on our own website. But if what ours should say, and if my team is listening, guys, okay, what ours should say is looking for more CRO or conversion rate optimization tips and techniques. Fill it, put your email address. Yes,
Yeah.
I would like more CRO techniques. Yes, count me in as a CRO expert. Yeah, something that is benefit oriented, that is along the lines. Nobody wants to subscribe because subscribe is, hey, you want to spam me? I really haven't gotten enough spam lately. That's what the word subscribe means to the average person, right?
Right.
So content conversion is making it all about engagement on that and giving people a couple options of ways to engage with you. I'm sorry, Jesse, that was a long answer.
No, I love it. It's there's so much I can jump in on there because here's a lot of things, especially if I'm gonna tie this in with SEO. A lot of us SEO people, the article route versus, or I should say, the non-commercial route of optimization and creating content is the easier path to getting traffic to a website than compared to the commercial pages. And the reason why is the commercial pages are typically higher intent type of keywords or services. That means typically that means it's more competitive, right? It's really hard to, especially in a competitive industry, to rank well in those keywords. But any decent SEO can do his or her keyword research and find long tail keywords and go, oh, there's a search opportunity there. There's low competition. There's an opportunity there to get traffic. And how most of us SEOs fail is we create the article, optimize it, get some traffic to the site, and then that's it. We consider that a win. That's not a win for the customer, the business owner, the owner of the website, because they're getting more traffic, but that doesn't mean they're generating leads, sales, or whatever the ultimate goal of their business or website is. So I love how this ties in together. Having some sort of route, or you have that quality content, so that's good, but have some sort of engagement or spark some sort of interest where you get them to go from this educational type of content, because that's usually what non-commercial pages are, is some sort of educational article, right? uh,
Mhm.
and get them to take that step to get them to the high intent pages, and maybe from there then there's a route to a conversion or something else, right? Or if you did a really good job in that, you could possibly skip that and go, if your blog is so good and you do talk about your products or services within your blog posts, I've done that before too, they could, you almost sell that and to just go right to the conversion path from the non-commercial page. So that's possible too. I love the idea of having, and just a takeaway from me, of just having a midway point of including products and services. That's not something I have on my current blog template, and now I really think about it, I've gotten too much. I always have it in the bottom, or if there's a sidebar, I have it in the side. And I think having put it right in the middle, I know I've done that before at some point in my career. I just stopped for some reason. But having some sort of snippets in there, especially if it's relatable to the content and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like that's the end, like you said, the last bite of the apple, there's
Yeah.
more content underneath it. I think that's a really good tactic that I'm going to at least have a takeaway from. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I have to double down on something you said, all right, that I didn't say that I should have said. Okay. You said quality content. If it's not quality content, you can do all the stuff I just said and it's garbage and it's not going to work. Okay. Whatever you're offering in the non-commercial pages, it better be quality, because if it's just, you know, I don't know who did it and ran kind of content or purely generated off of like AI. No, just no. It's got to be quality. So I didn't say that, Jesse, but when you use that word, I went, oh yeah, I kind of missed the point with that one, right?
Yeah, and you also mentioned, you just sparked my memory, is having, the author on somewhere on the blog post, right? So to know that there's an author here, and then there's an actual, preferably an author page, and then
Yeah.
some information about that author, because that's when you look at EAT through SEO, there's that experience and expertise, right? So if your author fits those two things, you're covering that, right? And that just shows. I think that's more important than ever when you have AI generated content. That here's the content that's written by the author, or at least that's what we're claiming, right? And then here's the information about that author, right? So it just adds that level of trust with non-commercial pages.
Yeah, by the way, we tested having the author and the picture up in the top or at the bottom, and up on the top actually increases engagement, and it
Makes
has to
sense.
have the picture. Without a picture or a character or something of the author up in the top, you're losing it, because if we talk about conversions, a lot of conversions are based on trust. And
Yeah.
so if it's anonymous posting or looks anonymous, you lose a little of that trust. And so that's why having it at the top matters.
I love that you said that. And I've been testing this out too, is like the dates. Um, I think the dates can matter. Like there's some plugins on sites that say not just the date, because an old blog post from 2016 might still be relevant today if it's been refreshed and reoptimized and updated and so forth. So there's some plugins that allow you to do like the last time it was updated. So
Right.
the last time it was updated, and I think personally that can add a little level of trust, right? So when you're looking for something organically, like, oh, this was written this year about the top 5 trends or something, right?
Yeah.
Like that's relevant. Now, if you were looking for the top 5 trends, you're thinking now, and then the post says 2016, then that's going to hurt you, right? That's going
Yeah.
to hurt the trust factor. So a lot of those little snippets up top are very important, but I think I'm with you. It starts with the author. Um, let's talk about something very specific, and any takeaways that you can provide us, or some actionable steps would be great. And we're going to talk about, maybe let's start with just a commercial page with the home page. What to really look for on how you can increase conversions.
Okay.
And I love the 3 questions, so I'd love you to start with that and then kind of go from there.
Okay. So Jesse's asking about the 3 questions that
Love
we
the 3
use
questions.
that are in my book. All right. And the 3 questions are, am I in the right place? How do I feel about this site? And what am I supposed to do here? And when somebody lands on a website, it doesn't matter what page they land on, they ask themselves those 3 questions. Am I in the right place? How do I feel? And what am I supposed to do here? Now, I'm going to say those one more time, but I'm going to exaggerate, because there's a point to this. Am I in the right place? How do I feel about this? What am I supposed to do here? Here's the thing. people are selfish. They don't really care about you or your product, or that you're trying to have an e-commerce site or a lead gen site to feed your family. They don't care about you. Okay. They care about whatever problem they're trying to solve. So your website really has to be user centric. It has to answer the problem or questions that they have. Now, the am I in the right place question, that gets answered. And matter of fact, all these three questions get asked and answered on every single page. But wherever they first land, they're going to ask those questions as hard as possible. And they're still going to ask it when they go through their funnel later on. But let's start, they land on, let's say, your homepage. And they, am I in the right place? Well, how did they get there? All right. Did they get there from SEO? Or did they get there from PPC? How did they get there? Whatever was promised in the metadata in the SEO, right, or whatever was in the ad in the PPC, whatever those words are, you have to live up to that promise. And one of the things we've learned and tested, and this is, I think the technical term, Jesse, for this is going to sound batshit crazy, okay? But if you don't, I'm serious. If you don't have the same exact words, and I don't mean similar words, I mean the same exact words from your ad to whatever it is. So, for example, on ours, we talk about conversion rate optimization. Well, when you land on our site, it's going to say conversion rate optimization. It's not going to say landing page optimization. Now,
Mhm.
we might have an ad that goes to landing page optimization, but the ad says landing page optimization, because asking somebody to think and go, is landing page optimization the same as conversion rate optimization or homepage optimization? Look, you can't make people think. You have to design the site as if the visitor was lazy and or stupid. And I know that sounds terrible, but let me put this in perspective. When somebody comes to your website, you don't know if they're in a happy place and they've been drinking like a Stella and they're very excited, it's been a wonderful day. Or did they have a fight with their spouse? Did the dog pee on the rug? Okay. Did they have a confrontation with somebody in a parking lot? You have no idea what mood they're in. And if they're not in a good mood, every time you make them think a little bit, that's cognitive friction. And again, what's the technical term? You're pissing them off. They're going to leave. Okay. So you really have to design and make it simple. So the am I in right place question, let's make sure that whatever the upstream messaging is matches. Now, here's a bonus tip for everybody. In your logo, all right, either right underneath your logo or to the right of your logo, depending upon your design, it would be really nice to have 3 to 6 to maybe 10 words that describe what you do. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, from an SEO perspective, you don't control what page they land on. And if on the top of your page, in the header, which is going to show up on every single page, it says what you do, and ours says conversion rate optimization. If you land on any of our pages, if you're not looking for conversion rate optimization, you're probably not a prospect for us, right? And so by having whatever those words are, it doesn't matter if they land on the About Us page or a service page or a product page or a careers page. They know what you do, right?
Right.
And you write that in a way that is relevant to the user. So that's the am I in the right place? Now, how do I feel about it? On a homepage, you want to have a banner that that describes a value proposition, unique selling proposition. And I understand for some sites you have lots of services, right? Or you have lots of products, or whatever it is you've got. You may have lots. You go, well, how do I do that? You need to have some overarching message. So, for example, for us, we might say something like, frustrated with your current conversion rate. Okay. Join over 2,100 thrilled clients since 2002. All right. So what does that do? All right. It says, what's the pain statement? Why are people coming to us? And again, you're going to have your own pain statements, whatever they are. And then you have a value proposition that talks about what you've done. And we even talk about how we've generated an incremental $1.2 billion in additional revenue for clients, right? It's those kind of statements that people go, oh, I feel good about this. These are the guys. These are people I want to talk to. All right. Now, bonus. This is one that everybody hates, but I'm telling you to do it anyway. On a desktop, you put your phone number in the top right-hand corner. And on mobile, it's to click the call icons because real companies have a phone number, and it's easy to get to. And now you might see some big brands that don't have their phone number up there. And I hear you. But here's the deal. Brands can get away with things that you and I cannot get away with. So
Mhm.
just because a brand gets away with it doesn't mean you can. Phone numbers matter, and we've tested this. It's got to be in about 50 different countries. It always increases the conversion rate. Now, it increases the conversion rate more than it increases the phone calls. So it's worth having. Now, if you don't have someone to answer the phone, it's okay to put your hours up there. It's okay to send them to a voicemail. We give them lots of love. I always tell people, give your visitors lots of love. And if you do that, then they will feel good. Don't make it seem like they called the cable company where somebody wants to go crazy. Don't do that. All right. Third one, what am I supposed to do here? There have been sites that we've all been to, and Jesse, I'm sure you could probably name a couple where you go and you go, well, I want to buy this. How do I buy this thing? Or how do I subscribe? What do they do? And they've hidden their call to action somewhere. Why? Don't you want their money? Don't you want the lead? What are you doing? Right? So make it really simple for them to do it. And your calls to action, here's another bonus. Okay. Your calls to action, whatever it is, which in our case, it's speak with a conversion expert. You want to have something be benefit oriented. Here's the bonus. Right underneath your call to action, you always want to have trust. It could be anything from testimonials to reviews to a trust statement like we talked about, and so on. And as you move down the page, wherever you have a call to action, always have trust. Now, another bonus. You okay with these bonuses, Jesse?
Love the bonuses.
Okay, all right, just checking. I know I'm being a little long-winded, and I apologize. Right,
No,
so
that's why we're on a podcast. That's what they're
okay, all
supposed
right.
to
So,
be.
all right, just checking. Right. So when you go down, you've all heard of banner blindness, where we don't see something. So you can't use the same trust over and over and over again down the page. So if you have reviews on one, you might have a trust statement further down the page underneath the call to action. You might have the star ratings underneath the next one. You might have icons for like different badges or awards you've won, but you want to change them as you're moving down the page, because if you use the same one over and over again, they're like, yeah, and they ignore it.
Right.
All right. So am I in the right place? How do I feel about this? And what am I supposed to do here?
Love it. Love it. I didn't even interrupt once because that was perfect. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, hugely impactful there. Let's move to the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So first one I got for you, and this is a perfect segue, especially for me, is can you have too many call to actions on a website? We'll start with the website, and then my second part of that question: can you have too many call to actions on a web page?
And the
But we'll
answer
start with
is,
the website.
yeah, the answer is yes. Okay. But we have to define what too many is a little bit.
Hmm.
So too many could be, in our case, speak with a conversion expert. If every time there was a break, we kept saying, speak with a conversion expert, speak with a conversion expert, at some point,
Yep.
this is like used car salesman land. Don't do this. Okay.
Yes.
So that could be too many. Or you could do this, or you could subscribe, or you could do this, or you could do that. And there's all these different things that you've got going on. Don't do that either. All right. So the answer is you absolutely can have way too many calls to action on your website and on a web page. So absolutely. And the only way to know this is to test.
Hmm.
So you have to test. Now, having said that, there's a little bit of common sense in here. If you feel like you're being obnoxious and too pushy, stop. Okay. And if you feel like you're not being pushy enough, be a little pushy. Right. So, but test it.
Absolutely. I love that love that answer. I have customers that are usually on one side of the fence on either one. Like they're not telling their audience of what to do next, right? So there's not enough call to actions, or at least
Yeah.
it's not obvious. And then I have a lot of customers as well that just go, "Hey, let's really hammer in that we need demos, so we need more requested demo buttons. Like that's
Yeah.
gonna
Absolutely.
somehow going to increase their leads for their
Yeah.
business, right? If you have more buttons on your page."
Yeah.
Um, that's something I fight with very often. So love that answer.
So think of it this way: what would Goldilocks do? Is it too hard, too soft, or
Hmm.
just right?
Just
Okay,
right. Yeah.
so
Excellent. Excellent. D- I love talking about case studies. I guess my question to you is maybe the value of case studies, and do consumers actually read case studies?
So they absolutely read case studies, especially, and this goes back to you can check it in your analytics, but what you really want to do is you want to check it in your heat maps to see what they're doing on those pages, because you can see with scroll maps, and movement maps what they're doing, and that'll tell you a lot. And so there's a key to a case study. The key to a case study is not about at XYZ company, we did this and we did, and so, oh my God, people bowed at us and it was wonderful and they threw flat. Don't do that. Okay. It's all about the problem and talking about it's almost like the hero story. If you're familiar with like the hero story, Hercules, how he was born, or Batman and
Hmm.
losing his parents and all of that stuff, right? And so it's the hero's journey. So what is the problem? What were the struggles? What did they try? And then what did you do? Okay. And that is how you create a winning case study. All right. It's
Love it.
it's really straightforward.
Excellent. Awesome. Last question. We'll just talk about site tuners. So I'm not
Sure.
going to ask about what you guys do because you've already hammered at home. But maybe let's talk about this. I think your business is really cool to me because you've identified a, well, it's not just a niche. It's just it's a pain point that every business has, right?
Right.
Especially
Right.
if you have a website. Conversion rates is something that if you don't know that it's a problem or you're not aware of it, that it probably is. And so I love that you have that just as your. I'm sure you have other services like your website design or whatever, but you guys really highlight on that, really trying to own that. Um, can you describe kind of like what it's, if someone were to work with you, what do you look for? How do they work with you? Anything that you want to talk about when it comes to that specific service and site tuners?
Okay, so you're right. Everything we do is conversion rate optimization oriented. We review analytics, we review heat maps, we figure out what's going on. We tell people what to do. We'll create wireframes if they don't know how to do the business flow. If they can't create a design, we create a design for conversion. And by the way, design for conversion is different than just standard website design. So we do a lot of
Mm,
design work. And then some people can't implement what we've given them, so we'll implement it. Right. But at the
right.
end of the day, everything's based around conversion rate optimization. The way our process works is really straightforward. People go to our website, they sign up for 30 minutes, where that speak with a conversion expert, and we don't sell. We literally don't sell. We will look at somebody's website and we will tell them what we see that's wrong on their website and tell them how to fix it. It's really straightforward. And then most people go, oh my God, if that's free, what happens if we pay them? I mean, I can't even imagine. Now, there's some caveats there. I mean, we ask that you have a website that generates, $10 million dollars a year in new business. And the reason we do that, and even though we have clients that do less than $1 million a year, we also have clients that are in multi-billions. But the reason we kind of go with 10 million, we don't take on a client unless we think we can get them at least a 25% boost. Well, at 10 million, that's 2.5 million. Our standard retainer is 7,000 a month. Who wouldn't trade 84,000 in a year for an additional 2.5 million in revenue, right? And
Right.
so, yeah. But if you're doing only 500,000 and we're going to get you an additional 125, that math just doesn't work, right?
Right.
Now we do have some services for smaller clients, but if we're going to schedule time to go through and tell people what to do, smaller clients usually can't even do the things we tell them to do. That's why it tends to be the larger clients, or the I would say mid-market clients.
E-
So
Excellent.
was that
Awesome.
helpful?
Very helpful. Thank you, Marty. That's sitetuners.com. It's Marty Greif. It's Greif. Did I nail it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Marty Greif, everyone. You can find him on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for him on LinkedIn, it's Martin Greif. And then you can also go to our website, thebrandsandbrews.com, and we'll have a link to this show, and then we'll have his bio and links on how you can find Marty and Site Tuners there. Marty, I really appreciate it. You have any beer left?
Yeah. I was going to say thank you and cheers.
Thank you and cheers.